Mount St. Mary's. My name is Kathy Moyer, and I work with third graders here, and they would like to read some stories for you.
Hi, my name is Kevin, and I'm going to be reading Abe Lincoln's Hat. Abe Lincoln didn't have much money, but when he became a lawyer, he wanted to look his best. He bought a long black coat and a tall black hat. Every day Abe wore his hat to his new job. People noticed the tall man in the tall hat. He was friendly to everyone, but when they needed a lawyer, they remembered him. Abe lived in Illinois. His state was mostly wilderness. When more and more settlers came, they built houses and farms and new towns. Sometimes they didn't get along. They argued over land and animals and money. Lawyers like Abe could help people settle their arguments. They could help people get a fair trial in court. Abe Lincoln wasn't a smart lawyer. People came to him with all kinds of problems. He helped them all, but he had one problem with himself. He forgot to answer letters. He forgot where he put important papers. A good lawyer cannot forget. Abe wanted to be a good lawyer, but he was not a good paper keeper. That he could do. Abe had an idea, his tall hat. He could push letters deep inside it. He could stuff notes into the leather band. When he took off his hat, the papers would remind him what he had to do. The idea worked most of the time. One day, some boys played a trick on Abe. They tied a string across the street. They strung it way up high. Everyone in town could walk under it, everyone except for Abe. When Abe walked down the street, the string knocked off his hat. Papers flew everywhere. He bent over to pick them up. The boys ran out of hiding. They jumped all over him. Abe laughed. He was not mad at the boys. He liked a good joke. But the trick did not stop him from carrying papers into his hat. Once a lawyer sent Abe a letter. Abe stuck it in his hat. The next day, Abe bought a new hat. He put away his old one. Weeks later, the lawyer wrote again. Why didn't you answer my letter? Then Abe remembered. The letter was still in his old hat. Many towns in Illinois had no lawyers and no judges. So every spring and fall, a judge and some lawyers traveled from town to town. Abe went to. Thanks for listening to me read. If you want to read the rest of this book, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Albert, and I'm going to read Margot. Because he was so small, Stuart was often hard to find around the house. His father and his mother and his brother George seldom could locate him by looking for him. Usually they had to call him. And the house often echoed with cries of Stuart. You would come into a room and he might be curled up in a chair, but you wouldn't see him. Mr. Little was in constant fear of losing him and never finding him again. He even made him a tiny red cap such as hunters wear, so that he would be easier to see. One day when he was 7 years old, Stuart was in the kitchen watching his mother make tapioca pudding. He was feeling hungry, and when Mrs. Little opened the door of the electric refrigerator to get something, Stuart slipped inside to see if he could find a piece of cheese. He supposed, of course, his mother had seen him. But when the door swung shut and he realized he was locked in it, surprised him greatly. "Help!" he called. "It's dark in here. It's cold in this refrigerator. Help, let me out. I'm getting colder by the minute." But his voice was not strong enough to penetrate the thick wall. In the darkness, he stumbled and fell into a saucer of prunes. The juice was cold. Stuart shivered and his teeth chattered together. It wasn't until half an hour later that Mrs. Little again opened the door and found him standing on a butter plate, beating his arms together to try to keep warm, and blowing on his hands and hopping up and down. "Mercy," she cried. "Stuart, my poor little boy."
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to check this out at your local library, my name is Tess, and I'm going to be reading Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. We were all sitting around the big kitchen table. It was Saturday morning, pancake morning. Mom was making orange juice. Henry and I were betting on how many pancakes we could eat, and Grandpa was flipping the pancakes. Seconds later, a pancake flew through the air, headed toward the kitchen ceiling, and landed right on Henry. We all laughed, even Grandpa. All the other pancakes landed in the pan. We ate all of them, even the one that landed on Henry. That night, Grandpa told us the best bedtime story ever. He said the flying pancake made him think of it. Across an ocean, over lots of huge bumpy mountains, across 3 hot deserts and 1 smaller ocean, there lay the town of Chew and Swallow. In most ways, it was like any other tiny town. It had a main street, stores, houses, trees, gardens, a schoolhouse, about 300 people, and some cats and dogs. But there were no food stores in the town of Chew and Swallow. They didn't need any. The only thing that was really different about Chew and Swallow was its weather. It came 3 times a day, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything that everyone ate came from the sky. It never rained rain, it never snowed snow, and it never blew just wind. It rained things like soup and juice. It snowed mashed potatoes and green peas, and sometimes the wind blew in storms of hamburgers. Every morning, people watched the weather report on TV to find out what they would eat that day. They would even hear a prediction for the next day's food. When the townspeople went outside, they carried their plates, cups, glasses, forks, spoons, knives, and napkins with them. That way they would always be ready for any kind of weather. If there were leftovers, the people took them home and put them in the refrigerators in case they got hungry between meals. By the time they woke up in the morning, breakfast was coming down. First there was a shower of orange juice. Then low clouds of sunny-side-up eggs moved in, followed by pieces of toast. Butter and jelly sprinkled down for the toast, and most of the time it rained milk afterward. For lunch one day, frankfurters and rolls blew in from the northwest at about 5 miles an hour. Then there were mustard clouds nearby. Thank you for listening to me read. If you would like to hear the rest of this story, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Johnny, and I'm going to be reading Astronomy and Space.
The universe. The universe is the name that we use to describe the collection of all the things that exist in space. The universe is so huge that its size is hard to imagine. It is made of millions of stars and planets and enormous clouds of gas, separated by gigantic empty spaces. Light years. Distances in space are huge. They are usually measured in light years. 1 light year is the distance that light travels in a year, approximately 9.46 million kilometers, 5.88 million miles. Light travels at a speed of 300,000 kilometers, 186,000 miles per second. Galaxies. Stars group together in huge collections called galaxies. Galaxies are so big that it can take a ray of light thousands of years to travel across one. Planet Earth is in the Milky Way galaxy. This galaxy is about 100,000 light years across. Distances between galaxies are much greater. Stars in space. There are millions and millions of stars in every galaxy. A star is a ball of hot gas which produces heat and light from nuclear reactions within its core. Stars come in lots of sizes and brightnesses. Thank you for listening to me read. If you would like to hear the rest of the book, please, you can check it out at your local library. My name is Erin, and I'm going to be reading The Bravest Cat. A building is on fire. There are lots of fire engines and lots of firemen. It is a big fire in an old garage, but one thing is lucky. No one lives in the building. Wait, look, what do the firemen see? It is a cat. She runs out of the garage. She is carrying something small. It is a tiny kitten. The cat puts her kitten in a safe place. Then she runs back into the fire. What is she doing? Soon the cat runs out again with another kitten. She runs in and out 3 more times. The firemen cannot believe their eyes. Now there is a pile of kittens. They are tiny and scared. One has burns on its little ears. And the poor mother cat, her burns are bad. Her eyes are hurt. She cannot even see her kittens. Soon she touches each kitten with her nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are all there. Very gently, a fireman puts all of the cats into a box. He can tell they need a doctor. The fireman takes the cats to the animal hospital. The cats do not belong to anyone. They are strays. So the doctor gives the mother cat a name. They call her Scarlet because of her red burns. Soon lots of people know about Scarlet. Newspapers run stories. People want her to be on TV. She is a hero and a star. Everyone hopes Scarlet will get better, and slowly she does. The kittens are kept in another room so she can rest. Scarlet cannot take care of them anymore. The people at the hospital give the kittens lots of love, and they get better too, all except one. The doctors think he was the last kitten to get out of the fire. The smoke hurt his lungs, and a month later he dies. But the other kittens get new homes. 2 kittens go home with a woman. The other 2 go home with a couple from Long Island. And what about Scarlet? Letters come for her all from all over the world, from Canada, Japan, and even Egypt. So many people want her to give her a good home. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how this story ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm going to be reading Allison Goes for the Gold. Chapter 4, German Lessons. Allison discovered she was skating with several other young men and women in an ice rink. Fest on with flags from around the world. In front of her, a dark-haired young man executed on elegant double axel. His airborne spin looked as effortless as a stroll down the street. Allison stopped to watch, admiring the young man's artistry. Then she began to glide across the cool, glistening ice. Amazed at her newly discovered skill, after several trips around the crowned rink, she decided to attempt something more challenging. Turning into position, Allison pictured every move she was about to make. Gliding backward on the outside of her right blade, she leaned into the ice, then pivoted and skated forward briefly before leaping up and turning out and a half times in the air. She landed on the outside of her left blade, then arms extended, gliding backward to continue drawing the circle in the ice. Looking around to make certain she wouldn't bump into anyone, Allison noticed a girl about her age. She was wearing a red satin skating dress sprinkled with spangles, and she looked away as Allison skated gracefully around the rink. Allison smiled as she glided near the girl, but received a gold glare in return. The girl's about as warm as the ice I'm skating on, Allison thought as she continued her circle. Soon she forgot the chilly girl and was once again caught up in focus on her own tension. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to find out how this story ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel. I'll be reading We Eat Dinner in the Bathtub. Do you want to eat dinner at my house, Josh? Okay, Harris. We eat dinner in the bathtub. The bathtub? Yes. Why do you do that? You should eat dinner in the dining room. We sleep in the dining room. Don't you have a bedroom? Yes, we cook dinner. Yes, we cook in my bedroom. Why don't you cook in the kitchen? There's not room. We park our car in the kitchen. Why don't you park your car in the garage? The dog sleeps in there. Why don't you put the dog in the backyard? The backyard is full with all kinds of things. Can't you put all of those things in the attic? No, we bathe in the attic. Why don't you take a bath in the tub? I told you we eat dinner in the bathtub. Do you want to eat with me or not? Okay, but I have to call my mom and let her know it's my turn to set the table. Table? What table? The one in the dining room. Your family eats dinner in the dining room? Yes. That's what I like about you, Josh. You're so different. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name's Sarah Narvaez, and I'm going to be reading the story Buddy. Two dogs were playing in the spring sunshine. They were frisking young German shepherds and lived in a place called Fortune Fields, and in the mountains known as the Swiss Alps. Many German shepherd dogs lived at Fortune Fields. That they were trained for important work. Some became police dogs. Some learned how to deliver messages. Some were taught how to find people who were lost. A woman came walking up the hill, Gala Kiss, and she called, and dogs raced over to the woman. She said their owner, Dorothy. Dorothy was the American, but she had come to live and work in the Swiss Alps, and she raised and trained dogs at Fortune Fields. Gaelic and Kiss were almost old enough to begin their training, but they would not become police dogs or rescue dogs. They would not be like any other dogs at Fortune Fields. Something new was about to happen. Over the years, Dorothy had come to be German shepherd dogs. All of the other breeds, they were smart and loyal. They could be trained to help people in many ways. Dorothy had even seen pictures of a shepherd dog in Germany, leading its buildmaster safely across the busy city street. At first, Dorothy thought the pictures must have been faked. For hundreds of years, blind people had depended on dogs to be their ears. But how could dogs, even a smart one, be trained to act as a blind person's eyes? Then Dorothy found out that there. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to find out what the rest of the story is about, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Charlotte and I'm going to be reading Best Friends. It so happens that certain sounds, sights, and smells of today bring back memories of yesterday and my life on the river. When I hear rushing water, I think of that year long ago on Salmon Creek. But it is when I see my old doll that I also remember my best friend Lily from my childhood. I wish the doll could tell me about the years she lived with Lily. The doll was very special. She had real hair, blue eyes made of glass, not painted on, the lace trim over her dress. My ma and pa could never have bought me a doll like this. She was a gift from my Aunt Sophie. I hope you won't forget your Aunt Sophie when you and your ma and pa move out west, she told me. You've been very gloomy about leaving Kansas, Charlotte, so perhaps this doll will ease your sadness. I named the doll Mary after my best friend. Pa took a job as the foreman for cattle ranch. He said it would be a great adventure. I thought I would see sights that I had never seen before. I struggled with my feelings about moving. How could I be sad and glad at the same time? On the train ride from Kansas to Idaho, I held Mary up to the window. For the first time ever in my life, I saw mountains. My adventure had begun. Soon after moving to Salmon Creek, I discovered something even more special about my doll. My ma and I were sitting outside on the steps to our new home. I was cradling my doll so tightly her head fell off. I thought she was ruined forever. Don't cry, Charlotte. Look, it's not broken. The head just needs to be screwed back on. I hugged Ma again, cradling the doll in my arms, but this time gently, as if she really felt some pain from losing her head. Together, the three of us watched the moon rise over the mountains and listened to the coyote songs. I miss the real Mary from Kansas and wish she were with me. On a day when the aspen leaves jiggled on their stems and in the wind, unwilling to part from their branches, I played at the edge of the river. I was alone and felt foolish for talking out loud to my doll. But why not? She was my only real friend. I unscrewed Mary's hollow head. No one but me knew my secret treasures were kept inside. There was a hair ribbon from Mary, an earring that I found on the train, and a golden locket given to me by my grandmother. Because of the noise of the rushing water over the rocks below, I never heard anyone coming. Suddenly I saw a long shadow fall next to mine. I jumped up and all the treasure spilled onto the rocks. For the first time in my life, I was face to face with a real Indian. I did not know what to say or do. Should I be afraid? The shadow belonged to Lily. She looked like any other girl I knew, except her clothes and skin were different. Hastily, I grabbed my doll. Lily smiled and gathered up my treasures. Thank you for listening to me read. If you'd like to see how the story ends, check it out at your local library.
Long ago in old Japan.
Your name? My name is Patrick, and I'm going to be reading The Funny Little Woman. Long ago in old Japan, there lived a funny little woman who liked to laugh, tee hee 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 hee, and who liked to make dumplings out of rice. One morning, as she was patting and shaping the rice flour, and one of the dumplings started to roll. It rolled across the table, it rolled to the edge of the table, and then fell right into the earthen floor. "Stop!" cried the little woman, but the dumpling rolled and rolled until it rolled down a hole. Ungrateful dumpling, scolded the little woman as she knelt and reached for it, but just then the earth gave way and head over heels and tumbled and tumbled. Until she found herself on a most unusual road. It was a hilly road lined with statues of the gods. My dumpling, where is my dumpling?" she shouted as she ran. Soon she came to one of the statues. "Jizo-sama, did you see my dumpling?" "Yes, I saw your dumpling. It rolled by 3 minutes ago. But you had better not follow it because the wicked Oni live at the end of the road." "Oh, tee-hee-hee-hee," laughed the funny little woman. "I'm not afraid of the Oni." And she kept running down the road crying, "My dumpling, has anybody seen my dumpling?" I have said a very stern Jizo. "It rolled by me just 2 minutes ago, but don't run after it, for you will surely meet a wicked Oni." "Oh, tee-hee-hee-hee-hee," laughed the funny little woman. "I'm not afraid of the wicked Oni." And she ran even faster, shouting, my dumpling, has anybody seen my dumpling?" Soon she came to another Jizo and asked, "Dear Jizo, have you seen my dumpling? It rolled just 1 minute ago. But hurry and hide behind me, for here comes the wicked Oni." The wicked Oni. If you'd like to hear the rest of the story, please look it up at your local library.
Hi, my name is Bram, and I'm going to be reading Dracula, page 226, chapter 19, Final Battle. For 3 days, they all moved up into the wild and mysterious mountains of Transylvania. Jonathan on the puffing steamboat, worried about Mina. Quincy and Dr. Seward rode along the bank. They led extra horses so that the others might join them if they needed to. Van Helsing and Mina drove along the carriage, moving as fast as they could toward the Borgo Pass and the castle of Count Dracula. Once they stopped at the inn, and a pleasant woman saw a scar on Mina's forehead. She shrank back in terror. After that, Mina kept her hat on to hide the evil mark. Arthur and Jonathan were almost at the point of catching the Geistes when their steamboat crashed into the rapids of the river. Ooh. The Geistes were able to continue in their light lighter craft. Arthur had to make some repairs quickly to make better time. Mine and Professor Van Helsing took turns driving. The country got wilder and wilder. As they moved farther into the mountains, there were no more houses along the road. Spooky. Everything was so desolate. Now Mina began to sleep so suddenly all day that the professor could not waken her. If you want to hear the rest of the story,
check it out at your library.
check it out your library.
Thank you for listening.
What?
Thank you for listening to me read.
What?
Thank you for listening to me read.
Thank you for listening to me read. Round of applause. Reading is fun.
What's fun?
Reading.
And where do you go to school?
Mount St. Mary's.
And what grade are you in?
Third.
And what's fun?
Reading.
Hip hip hurrah!